Let's see what happens when Crackety goes up against his favorite Civ. That's right, he's not playing Chinese, but he is playing against the Chinese. Let's go. And Crackety, he whipped out the Deli. Not the worst choice, actually. Like, Deli's a pretty potent choice on this map. I'd say they are probably top 3 on Basin. But I would also, I also feel like Chinese are there as well. Chinese is actually maybe number 1, possibly 2. Maybe I'm kind of wrong with that order. Maybe I'm a little bit, like, wrapped up. Because Deli do at least get 1 Sacred Site for free. I think that this is possibly, like, rank 1, rank 2, or rank 2, rank 3. Civs on this map. I think the other Civ that like kind of got some real big fire under its like belly, or in its belly rather, in the early days was maybe the French, but has somewhat fallen off since. English just kind of feel haphazard, especially if you're worried about a Deli pick coming out. So I definitely put these two at the front of the pack. Maybe Abbas's slides in there somewhere just because Abbas's is Borkin everywhere. But anyway, let's see how this one's going to be playing out because Crackety opens up very early going in to the good old mosque, and he does immediately go into the straggler tree. Straggler trees, by the way, are a better option now with the changes. You may be noticing this across the board in the pop compared to other maps. I think straggler trees didn't actually exist on a lot of the previous maps, and they maybe have been added in. But if they haven't, the ones that they did exist on, they are now closer. Look how close these are. I remember it used to be like, what, out here? Basically double the distance, which is really important if you consider the idle time involved in straggler trees, because you're most likely to use straggler trees in your builds before you have wheelbarrow. So very big buff to people, and Civ specifically, that need that budget on the wood at the beginning. Meanwhile, on the other side, of course, the Muslim will just go straight at the wood. Let's get plenty of it. He doesn't have that same stress on him, remember, because he just kind of tax his way past the early intermittents. But ideally, you want to go into the gold mine. The days of just taxing your way to feudal kind of feel like they're behind us. It's a little bit too pricey with the changes to imp officials now costing gold as well. It slows down your timing way too much. And of course, with the changes to Imperial Academy specifically, where you now build Imperial officials out of them, ever since that change got made, in conjunction with the cost change to Imperial officials, it just made so much more sense to go on the gold vein and get a quicker tech up timing. Because the thing you have to keep in mind is, sure, you know, you could, in theory, just keep pumping Imperial officials out your TC, but every time you do that, that's 1 villager less, right? And that compounds, that escalates. And also, if you think about it the other way, if you go on the gold and you get your double feudal tech a little bit quicker, you're going to unlock Song Dynasty, which is going to inflate the amount of villagers you have faster. Can I switch name sides? I don't think you can actually do that. Interesting point, though. Like, I'm kind of surprised that isn't an option, actually. That might be a good. That might be a good addition, actually. I kind of didn't think about that, but yeah, there's no way of actually switching that over. So apologies. Your OCDs are just gonna have to deal with this. Basin does not like the way you want things configured. Can you rotate the map? We could, but here's the issue rotating the map. In what way does that look? Does that feel better to you? That feels criminal. Okay, that's actually a crime right now. Guys, did you know that there's wood piles back here? I never knew there were wood piles back here, and now that is actually ruined the immersion, because the feng shui was perfect in this Chinese TC before I done that. Now it's ruined. Now you know stuff that you shouldn't know, okay? Some people don't want to know how the piggy's made. Wait, the sausage is made. You probably also don't want to see how the pig is made, to be honest. But yeah, that's why we're going to have to just suck it up and deal with it, folks. Because this is the lesser of two evils. Can't believe I just said suck it up after all those other things. Anyway, focus on the build-up. Imperial Academy is going to be coming out. And it's going to be Tower of the Dome! What up? Yo, okay. My boy Crackety is subscribed to my YouTube channel. He's heard me harp on about this way too often. Obviously, he had some ideas himself, but you know what? What clearly convinced him is he was just listening to this loudmouth idiot just say Tower of the Dub constantly. And eventually, Crackety, like, after watching 20 hours of Fortnite and hearing dub a lot there as well, he's like, I really want a dub. So here he goes. Tower of Victory. Of course, this is an amazing landmark. For those who don't know, as you can see, it increases the attack speed. Also, notice that key detail. Got some big changes. Yo, speaking of big changes, you know what big change to Heidelberg's going to be? The fact that my boy Kaz was going to be there after I'd fallen in despair. Shout out to my boy Kaz with the subby. Appreciate you, bud. And congratulations on getting the visa issues sorted. I look forward to seeing you later this month. But yes, Tower of Victory got changed. As you can see, it now affects around your mosques and also the madrasa, which is the university. So this is actually a really big change because one of the issues you were going to have with Tower Victory is it was really great around, I'd say, like the 20-25 minutes when you're around 60 military pop cap. But let's say you go into late game. Let's say you end up in a situation where you've got 20 racks pushing out units constantly. Tower Victory is an absolute pile of dog crap because you have no control, no influence over all of those racks, unless you are choosing to waypoint your people towards one location first, which means they're not rushing to the battlefield. So small changes like this matter a lot in the macro power game of late game, right? Where it's really about who can efficiently push more units out. This means that you can just put 1 or 2 mosques in front of your base, push all your units out, and they're all going to get juiced up. Little Muslim is going to secure the stone and sort of the gold, not fully, but he is blocking out the sacred site. I like this choice, right? For the Muslim, he could have went to the center, he could have dropped a TC, but I don't want to do my boy Recon dirty. But last time I watched Basin and someone done that, it didn't end very well, especially considering they're playing HRE in that situation. And you don't have the boar here anyway, so there's even less value in going to the central sacred site. This way, he secures his base, secures his stone for multiple TCs, and also blocks out one sacred site from ever being able to be taken by Crackety. Crackety is going to start pushing the archers straight away. A respectable choice, actually. I think with the attack speed, like these archers aren't too bad compared to Chugenu. And also, the difference maker is you're going to have healing behind them. So the way I like to look at this kind of matchup, when you've got archers with attack speed or you've got longbows, in small quantities, they win against Chugenu because the Chugenu are just too slow to move into range. In vast quantities is where the Chugenu take over. The cool thing is Crackety should be able to compound a lead because of a mixture of the attack speed buff and some scholars. Now, early on, those scholars aren't going to immediately move out into the mixer, but as soon as Sanctity hits the field, expect 1, possibly 2 scholars to be pulled to the mid-map, and then, of course, you're going to have access to the good old NHS, courtesy of England exporting to Delhi, I guess. In the meantime, archers are going to make their way around the backside. The gold is somewhat exposed in the base. It'd be very difficult to reach in onto the sheep stack without the TC getting involved, but there's maybe a wiggle point here, and Crackety love this. The Muslim made a little bit of a whoopsie here. Small area that would have been worth palisading off at the backside of his base, but he didn't do it. And the crazy part is I think the Muslim doesn't realize that it's not naturally protected. Look, this is the Muslim's fog vision right now. Wait, no, it's not. I'm an idiot. Wait, so does Crackety know? Oh, no, Crackety doesn't know. Okay, my point stands, but from the other perspective, Crackety didn't know. He brought a villager all the way across the field to cut through these tree lines. And now he knows. I think there's no way. Attacking that scout, there's no way you don't realize you could have just went through. No, went round, rather. Hey, man, Crackety doesn't claim to be a god. Although this will be a godly outpost, he'll be able to block out the sheep and the berries as well as the gold. This is going to force a reaction out of the Muslim. No way you want to give up your gold and your food. Looks like he's moved out on the east side, but the danger of doing so, and this is why I love him setting up the outpost, is that Crackety could have set up a second contingent to go on the east side. So this is a really good play. The Muslim's going to be able to have his double TC. He sets up the stables as well, and now he's able to flock out onto the deer stack. There's no easy way for Crackety to contest that right now. Horseman also hitting the field, and Crackety, oh boy, no. That build speed. That build speed is not looking good. That's going to be an army wipe. I think he got a little bit ambitious with his outpost. Maybe if he snuck it out of vision, it could have been better. But then again, Crackety, we got to remember, he only just found out that he could have went around the west side anyway. So everything gets cleaned up here, even the scouts as well. That's crippling. Actually, look, wait, what? No, yeah, there's no way that Dumuslim doesn't take out the scouts. Good body blocking. Wait, what? He can't click it. Okay, that was disgusting. That was actually vile. I thought they got the villager already, but Crackety apparently was sheltering the poor child underneath his horse. Damn. I mean, credit to him. That's well played. But also, now to discredit him. Ha ha ha. Nice outpost, bro. What are you doing? Because at the end of the day, you've killed like, what, 1, maybe 2 villagers if you're lucky. And you can still lose your village on the front line. In the meantime, the trades are just really benefiting the Muslim here. So I think the Duster Val, if I'm not mistaken, is the... No. I was going to say it's the the cost of units lost, but that wouldn't mathematically make sense. Like, the Muslim is vastly ahead in the trade right now. So the interesting part is they've got similar army values at this stage, right? But you have to keep in mind that the Muslim has wiped Krakedy's army, more or less, right? So in terms of losses, I would definitely give the edge over to Dimmu. Well, there's religious statistics as well. Destruction value? Yeah, but how would you define destruction value? Like, what would that be? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to ask one of the devs what Destroy-Val means. If someone in chat actually knows for sure, no trolls, please. Look at this. Outpost in the center. The Muslim is about to show Krakedy how to build outposts. Remember, the Chinese do it much quicker, and he brought 5. Made that 7 villages to the party. Oy, oy, oy. Wait, what's the red circle around the units? What units? I don't see red circles. My bad. Should have responded to that more recently. Similar to unit loss, but in terms of cost. See, that's the thing. If this is in terms of unit cost, it doesn't make any sense. Sorry, I read something in chat I shouldn't have. Because there is no way that the Muslim has lost more units than Krakedy. I'm pretty sure of that. There's no way. Like, I'm tempted to switch over to the old caster view to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that Krakedy has lost more. Okay, so just to remind you guys, blue... by the way, I think they've done this on purpose, the goddamn trolls. The Chinese are light blue. The Delhi are dark blue. So, like, in this situation, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that many horsemen actually have died. It just doesn't feel like it. I hope this is what this detail is, though, because I've been asking for it for a long time. And actually, one big issue now for the Muslim, he's chosen to tech up. Krakedy hasn't. Krakedy is doubling down right now, and you can see the influence militarily. Up to 28 now, already beginning to burn through the structures. It looks like one of them did get fortified, though. It's going to be a little bit of a costly endeavor for Krakedy to try and breach through this, and this is where we can actually test whether it is that number. So watch another scholar go down. I see what we mean. Yeah, destroyed value in terms of what you've killed. I think that's... So that to me, like... So Jimmy was right with destroyed value. Good job. But to me, I feel like value lost would make a lot more sense here. And then you invert these values, right? So just value lost in this situation, that's the way you have to think about it. So value lost, Krakedy has lost 2,100 resources worth of units. The Muslim has lost 1,400 worth of units. And possibly buildings as well. I didn't pay attention to that number. It's an interesting detail, though. I'm really happy they added this in, because I was asking for it for a very long time. In the Road to Wallo, I think even back in Golden League, I was like, man, it would be so great if we could see what the cost of these armies are and the cost of their losses, right? So really cool detail. Looks like this torch is going to continue. And this will be where we can test whether it affects buildings as well. I would assume the destroyed value does add on to buildings also. In which case, the Muslim really hasn't lost much, actually. So this number just went up by 10. Now I'm getting more confused. Wait, is it distributed value? No, that wouldn't make sense. That sounds dumb. I'm going to stop. I don't know. This is just a weird placeholder. For those wondering, the other things are pretty like clear. So this is work kills. So, Krakedy... Wait, no, these numbers don't make sense either. Did he get the villager out before? I think he did. Yeah. So in this situation, Krakedy's killed 5 villagers. The Muslims killed 0. Speaking of those villagers... Oh, no. Oh, no! Oh, no! The Muslim, you came to the wrong neighborhood. 37 villagers! Oh, my... He's at least got textiles, but this is going to be a massacre. We're trying to shift them away, but Krakedy has him pinned in the corner. The palace guard can't even get through. We'll try to shift away. Even if he gets the villagers out, though, the idle time alone feels like you've been hung out to dry. Krakedy, you crafty cracker. Oh, my God. And it looks like they'll be able to break their way out courtesy of the palace guard at the end, but my God. The idle time is crippling for the Muslim right now. Like, just look at the eco count. That was half of his economy not working. Oy, oy, oy. And behind that, of course, Kraken did secure his tech up. He went for the House of Learning. And now, with the Moss set up in the area, he could easily go into Palace Guard here. Oh, not Palace Guard, sorry, Men at Arms, which will be better than the Palace Guard because of the Tower of Victory, which is given over by Mosque Wi-Fi. And, you know, yes, the Muslim still has an eco lead. I'm not disputing that. But the thing you have to keep in mind is that Krakeny has 2 sacred sites, giving him 150 gold per minute, which adds a decent amount of villages back into it, right? Like 8 extra. Then on top of that, he should have more. Wait. No. Okay, they're underway. Wait. Is the UI... Huh? Nani? All right, Delhi UI is it's a complicated thing, folks. It needs a little bit of work. Looks like the Delhi UI isn't tracking correctly. Don't get confused by this. He has got all the tier 1s. We're not going to flame Krakeny for being a Muppet. He did actually get all the Tech 1 research. Just seems like it doesn't track correctly. So in terms of gathering rates, like he should be doing pretty damn well for himself. In fact, if you look at the food, you look at the gold, the comparative. The wood is the only edge Muslim has right now, and that's because he needs to get a bunch of wood to transition into farms. An interesting play here, actually. Look at this detail. Krakeny, because he didn't go for the tower, because he went for the Tower Victory build instead of going for the standard, he didn't have as many scholars out in the mid-map, which means he wasn't quickly picking up all the relics. So this actually isn't the worst play for the Muslim, especially at this stage now, considering that the Muslim's gone for Palace Guard, so he can intercept. Overview statistics. This is different. It's just for religious statistics. Yes, good job. Yeah, actually good shout. It shows you the sacred site, like, give. I don't know if that second screen is needed, but Krakeny in the meantime is at least going to clean up the Palace Guard as he switches over into the Lancers. Now, of course, these don't benefit from the attack speed buff, but he just needs something fast to respond. The reason why Men at Arms don't work on their own for Krakeny is they're too slow. They can't actually keep up with the Palace Guard. So good choice here to get the heavy cavalry out. He needs to get some map control going because right now, the Muslim is desperate. He needs a farm transition and he needs enough food to cover him in the interim. So if you can move out and punish him now, before he gets that farm transition set up, you can exploit his weakness. You can cripple his economy. Well, we'll see if he's able to cripple him. Elephants are moving out as well, courtesy of spears to protect them. Remember, these elephants definitely need the protection these days. They have no melee armor to speak of, really, and they only have 600 HP, which means more or less any melee unit can butcher them in mass, not just spearmen. That means horsemen especially are just even better. Another cool thing to think about in the dynamics of this matchup, as it goes later, Krakeny's elephants could become less impactful if the Muslim goes for the Yuan dynasty, as you'll get the extra movement speed on spears. And those spears will very quickly pinch these elephants. There's nothing you can do to get them out either. Well, shift to the aggressive from Krakeny. Looks like he has got herbal medicine at the ready. Homeblades is coming through soon. Good timing with the Lancers marching in. It looks like the granaries are going up, and I think the Muslim got a bit gluttonous here. He has no forward wall. Does he know, though? He doesn't. Krakeny is just out of vision. He's about to sneak into it, though. Bad news now for the Muslim as the raid is going to come in ahead of his own. He got baited away from the base as well, courtesy of a single spearman here. And it looks like the Muslim wasn't looking. He's going to peel back now. Elephant is going to reveal. We'll get minimum impact. Now the Nesta Bees is coming out and a pinch is on the way. And it looks like Krakeny, he may overstay his welcome here. Moves in onto the granary. And I love this out to Muslim. It's mainly melee, so he's going to keep harvesting because they're not actually adjusting. They're not directing their aggression towards the villages. That's going to force him away from the granary. Push through as the elephant just has to peel back. The spearman will quickly give chase and clean it up. And the veterancy comes through just in time to give maximum impact. First, Vanguard Force Krakeny is going to be cleaned up. The Muslim now looking very comfortable. He'll get back on the farms with the increased gathering rates. He's now got a 2-to-1 lead on villages, and militarily they are now neck and neck. This is a bad situation for Krakeny. Now, he did at least go into Lancers pretty heavily. However, his hand is becoming discounted. Men at Arms versus Palace Guard, it's going to favor Krakeny, but it's not going to be a quick exchange, and that means the Nesta Bees are going to be key here. Crossbows also now being added in by Krakeny. I do like that detail. They'll be very impactful here, considering that the Palace Guard, although moving faster, have less ranged armor. A little bit more crippled by that. Farms continue to just escalate now. Crackety realizes he's on the clock. He needs to get some serious damage done. However, damage was being done on the outside here. Oh my! The Muslim, what was he doing in this neighborhood? Greedy boy in the wrong location. Good move by Crackety. Shivs out, takes out the villagers, and takes control of the berry patch he needs. But now the Muslim knows where he is, and yeah, he's getting aggressive in the area. You can see the little red waypoints to tell you where their attack is. It's attack move into the location, and even if you don't kill the villagers, that's going to be a lot of idle time. And those wondering what the +9 here means, this is the amount of units being produced right now. So the way to read this UI is you can see these numbers, then you see a grayed out number slightly above. So this first number is active military. This number above it, this icon represents production. So the white numbers are active military, and then the grayed numbers are units being produced. So for example, here we can see the Muslim was producing 3 extra spearmen, now 1 extra still coming, and 5 Palace Guard are on the way. I want to talk to them about it though, because I genuinely do think that the solution, I don't know, maybe it was a bit too crammed with the new UI here, but I kind of liked the system we had for Road to Olo, where the units being produced were here and here, because it just very easily detached the 2 pieces of information. Whereas here, there's a risk you've got too many numbers close together. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Like I said, I'm going to give it a bit of time, see if I get used to it. Speaking of things that Crackety shouldn't have to get used to, Chinese getting into the late game. This is something he should be familiar with, the potency that's coming his way, which means he's definitely going to feel on the clock to make something happen soon. And he has to really find a way of sniping the eco, because the big issue for Crackety is that militarily, the Muslim's now taking the lead, and Crackety hasn't done anything to escalate his own military because he doesn't have multi-TCs. So he doesn't have enough income to do so, and incoming is another raid on the west side here. Oh boy, Crackety. This is not the way you want to play this. He's away from his base as well. He's in the mid-map, and he might be forced to come back to defend this. He's also, by doing this, actually, this is crafty. The Muslim, the reason why he assaults the base, he's trying to wall up his own side of the map, and he wants the enemy's army to come home to defend so that all of his villagers can safely stonewall up. But it looks like Crackety's having none of it. He says, you want to make it a trade? We can make it a trade because my units can dive for much longer than yours. Lancers marching in. Dangerous going into the stealth forest, though. They'll march through. Keep is going to start being dropped. Nest of Bees is going to be splintered, but heavy damage done to the Lancers as they try to wrap past. And the Scholars, there's not enough of them here to protect, so the Keep is going to go up. Few Nest of Bees are going to be sacrificed, but overall the economy of the Muslim is going to be protected. In fact, a lot of Nest of Bees going down there, so that ends up being a cost of 20 at 400 resources for the Muslim. But still, he can afford it. I mean, this is the tough part right now for Crackety. He's not even killing villagers at this point. He's just dying to spearmen. An army gets cleaned up. The Muslim really not hurt for it. I mean, just look at the eco situation. Still having about a double-up lead. Still achieving idle time on the other side of the map as well. And looks like he'll try to finish off the lost Lancers. Scholars are actually just absurd right now, but long-term, this is not going to work out. Especially with more Nest of Bees now coming out, which means the Scholars are probably going to be donezo very shortly with this. Good God, I feel like I'm waiting a lifetime for Nest of Bees to actually flurry off an attack. But finally, he'll clean them up. And that's actually costly for Crackety. Remember that he hasn't got a discount on any of these Scholars. It's 150 gold each. And if you look at the layout of the map, he doesn't actually have access to much gold. And if you think about his format, he needs gold. Crossbows, men-at-arms, lancers. All this requires gold, and all of the gold points now that Crackety could go onto are ahead of his base. They're outside his zone of influence. Even this south side isn't as secure as you'd think because the Muslim has raided here 3 times already. It's a very dangerous situation, especially now that the Muslim's doing this. He's going to funnel point everything. The wall continues to crawl across the map, and, well, with that keep now being dropped in the center, you can't help but feel that Crackety is running out of options fast. He's going to have to take direct fights to get in a tool, and those direct fights actually haven't been looking that impactful. Interesting part is Crackety is completely pulled away from Lancers, hasn't even attempted to go into the eco points anymore. And the reason is I think Crackety realizes that a small group of Lancers don't do enough, right? It's just not good enough. Someone was saying 50 vills killed by Demuslim. No, so don't get these values confused. So the destroyed value and work kills are on the other side. So this is Crackety has killed 50 villagers. Demuslim's only killed 18. I know, it's very confusing. Like, we need to have a discussion about how to, like, tweak that, I think. Because it's not 100% apparent to people. All right, wall's going up though. Full final point achieved. Interesting part is that the sacred site hasn't been decapped yet. I got value, but I didn't get value. Exactly, the Val and Val. Like army Val makes sense. The destroyed value doesn't. Like it's not well defined. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, this should probably be workers lost or workers killed would be fine in the situation, and then like I'd say actually lost value and workers lost is better. And that way there's no difficulty for someone to understand what these two mean and whose is whose, right? I think that's the best way to do it. But we'll see what they come up with in the end. It's definitely going to take some getting used to. It's a very, very different system. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, though, folks. We've got to give credit where credit is due. Really big shout out to Capture Age for putting something together because the default spectating tool was trash. One thing I wouldn't mind still having access to is being able to see the things that can be built. So I think it's really fun for you guys, for when I reference something and the cost of it, for you to see what it costs, right? So I'm like, these granaries cost X, or these farms cost 75 wood, right? And then show you the build time and everything else related to that. But anyway, speaking of build time, someone that won't take long at all for the Chinese is teching up. Spirit Way is underway. Love this choice coming out from Dumu. Because now that his opponent is going into this kind of different comp where he might rely on more crossbows and spears, maybe Chuganu come back in. It sounds wacky, but hear me out. The cool thing about Chuganu, the damage can only be reduced to 1. They do burst attacks of 3, so 3 damage compared to an archer that would do 1 against 50 missile resistance, right? On top of that, with Spirit Way, your Chuganu becomes pseudo-tanks. It's actually pretty absurd how this works now. With the plus 20 health you get returned to you over 10 seconds, every time a Chuganu dies, everyone around it gets healed. It's very weird to say this, but they are actually a pseudo-tank unit now. We'll see if he wants to go for that. It is possible that actually Demuslim instead is going to set up for maybe some sort of Fire Lancer play down the line, because that would be pretty effective here, considering Crackety's not walled at all. And yeah, I love how it sunk in for the chat when I was like, yes, this is the amount of villagers. 51 is the amount of villagers that Crackety has killed. Yet Demuslim still has about that. Actually, exactly that in terms of a villager lead. It is absurd. Looks like archery range is being set up mass. So yeah, we are going to get the Chuganu play. I like it. I think it's really, really good here. You just burst through everything so fast. Doesn't matter how much armor it's got as well. And it's really effective against crossbows especially. March in. Trebs did get through one of the keeps. Backup one coming in, though, from Demuslim. I love this staggered format. He's looking for a pinch. He wants to wrap in from both flanks and then try to essentially lock them in so they can't move forward and they can't retreat. And there's Nesta Bees. These Nesta Bees are going to be a bloody nuisance for Crackety. Burst comes in on the front line. Heavy damage done, and the Scholars cannot out-heal it. However, the Spriels are going to trade out afterwards. Damage is already done, though, and this is the problem. Mango's arriving a little bit too late to assist on Crackety's side. It's only Siege left, and Siege is not going to cut it on its own. Everything is going to be destroyed. Demuslim with a standing army, and Crackety is now on his knees. Begging for mercy, because that's going to be GG.